Good afternoon, students. How are you? Okay, I am also good as usual. So, today we are going to read the next poem from our syllabus, that is an elementary school classroom in a slum. Yesterday we had finished the poem name My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. What was the theme of that poem? Sad, sadness. That's the mood. That's the mood or tone. Theme, theme. What was the theme? Aging is a natural process. Aging, separation, death, unavoidable. Nobody can avoid it. Yes. So today we are going to study a poem called An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum by Stephen Spender. Stephen Spender remained from 1909 till 1995. He was an English poet and an essayist. He wrote many essays. He left University College Oxford without taking a degree and went to Berlin, that's in Germany, in 1930. Spender took a keen interest in politics and declared himself to be a socialist and pacifist. Socialist is one who works for the society, and pacifist is one who believes in peace, who works in establishment of peace all over the world. Books by Stephen Spender include Forms of Dedication, The Edge of Being, The Creative Element, The Struggle of the Modern, and an autobiography, World Within World. In an elementary school classroom in a slum, he has concentrated on theme of social injustice and class inequalities. So remember the theme of the poem is social injustice and class inequalities. Now, if we talk about the rhyming scheme of the poem, so do you think any rhyming scheme is followed there? What is the rhyming scheme? Yeah, no rhyme, none. Free verse form. So the first one was also free verse, and here also there is no rhyming scheme. It is written in free words. No rhyme scheme is followed here. Before we begin, have you ever visited or seen an elementary school in a slum? What does it look? How many? Have you visited any elementary school in slum or any school in slum? Any one of you? No. Have you seen a slum where? Delhi, plenty in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Jaipur, Kolkata, big cities. Jhalawad also is there, some slum? No. So usually the big cities, they have slum area, and in slum area the condition of the place is and the people is too bad, pathetic condition. So here there is a school, an elementary school classroom which is situated in slum area. Now you can imagine the picture of that school or that slum area. When we say slum, when I say slum, what comes to your mind? What kind of place it would be? Yes. So, broken houses, all kind of diseases. This is the picture of the school. Okay. The small windows are there. Okay. And here around the school. The people are living in their huts. There is also dirty water flowing, no drainage. Yes, and you could see the heap of garbage here. Garbage, wrappers everywhere. You could see the wrapper and garbage here. What else? The children are playing on heap of garbage. Here there are children. Yes, they are running. They are malnutrition because of lack of protein, vitamin, proper food. They have been like that. Okay, one more. I can make it here. They are running. So this kind of picture you usually imagine. This is real. You could see in slum. Okay, so the roads are like this. There are no trees, no place, crowded place, house together. One more house is here. Okay, and in one house, people are living like crowd. Yeah, animals are also there. Animals running, dogs, especially the porcupine, pigs running here and there like this. Let me make it better here. So somehow something like that would be the picture of, isn't it? Okay, something like that. So you are getting the idea. So this is the scene, this is the picture of a slum area. Now, one day, the poet, he happens to make a visit to the place, and whatever he has observed, he has seen, he is writing here. So, far, far from gusty waves, these children's faces. In the first line, the poet says that the children, those who are sitting here, their faces are far, far away from gusty waves. So, gusty waves stand for fresh air, fresh oxygen. At the same time, he uses the term gusty waves for the deprivation of the children from the prosperity of world, from the prosperous world. So gusty waves means the children are far away from the mainstream, main society, the prosperous world, the developed world. So it has got two meaning. The children, those who are sitting there, they are far away from gusty waves, fresh air. Why? Because the slum are in such a places where, you know, the narrow line, narrow road is there, single street is there, and houses are together. There are they are surrounded by tall buildings, heap of garbage is there, no trees, no mountain, no water facility. So like that. So these children, they are deprived of main facility, mainstream, main society, like rootless weeds. And he compares to them with rootless weeds as the roots, as the rootless weeds, that is the unwanted plants. Unwanted plants are thrown out of the field by the farmer. He removes them and throws them out because it is useless and it troubles the other crop, other grain. So therefore he removes. So he says that they are like rootless weeds, as if somebody has removed them from the mainstream, main society, and thrown them here. So they are like rootless weeds. The hair torn around their fellow. The hair, they have long hair. It symbolizes their poverty. Their hair is long and they do not have money even to get a haircut. They are living in unhygienic condition situation. So the hair torn around their pallor. Pallor stand for their dull yellowish face. So pallor stand for dull face, unhealthy, pale appearance. So the children, those who are living here, they are dull, they are unhealthy. That's what the poet says in the starting two line. And then he describes, he says that the tall girl with her weight down head. There is a tall girl sitting in the classroom, and her head is heavy. Weight means heavy. Her head is heavy. Why head is heavy? Why head is down? Because she is deprived of all kinds of facility. She is in some tension. She is not happy sitting there, studying there. The paper simming boy with rat's eyes. And there is also a boy. There is also a boy in the classroom. How is he? Paper simming. Paper simming means very thin like paper. Paper simming means very thin like paper. Which poetic device is used here in paper simming boy? Metaphor. The paper simming boy. Comparison of the boy is made with paper. There is a paper simming boy. Paper, you can see how thin is the paper. So there is a paper simming boy. That is metaphor. And with rat size. So as the rat look here and there, if in order to get something, when the rat is hungry, he looks here and there from where he could get something to eat. Same way, the boy was sitting with rat's eyes, hungry eyes, waiting for someone to come and give something to them, either money or clothes or some food to eat, because they are deprived even of their basic rights, basic facility. The stunted unlucky heir of twisted bonds. And these children, they are legal heir of what? Unlucky. They are unlucky legal heir. So in legacy, they are getting their father's disease. In legacy, one get one's father's property, car, business, vehicle, wealth, money, bank account. That's your legacy. But as a legacy, what they are getting? They are getting their father's serious bone disease. So gnald means serious disease. They are getting their father's serious disease. Stunted means undeveloped, and twisted bones. So they are getting the disease of their father, means their father, their forefather, they had also same problem. They were also suffering from this problem of twisted bones. Their bones, when it is not strong, it twists, they bend, and also underdeveloped, not developed properly. So they are reciting, they are sitting there and reading the poetry, they are sitting there and they're reciting their lesson. At the same time, the poet sees that they are reciting the father's disease. They are reading their lesson on the desk, their books are there. So they are reading the lesson from the book, but at the same time, poet sees that these children are reciting, reading, showing, expressing their fathers, forefathers' serious disease. His lesson from his desk. At the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. And there is also a sweet and young, unnoted boy at the back of dim class. So the condition of the class is how? It is dim. There is no proper ventilation, no proper light, neither sunlight nor any other artificial tube light or LED light. Because these places are even deprived of the basic requirement, basic facility. Like electricity is very basic, but there are many places where electricity connection is not there, or even if it is there, it comes only 1 hour, 2 hour in a day. So same way here also, it was a dim class. There was one unnoted, sweet and young boy. Nobody noticed him. Nobody noted him. Why he was unnoted? Because he was sitting back, and second thing, it was a dim classroom. His I live in a dream of squirrel game. And what was the boy doing? He was lost in a dream. And his eyes was lost in a dream, and he was also watching the squirrels game. So two things are there. He was dreaming also, at the same time looking outside of the window, he was watching the squirrel game. So perhaps he was dreaming about his future. He was dreaming about if somebody may come, somebody would come, they would take us out from this slum area, good places, what will happen to us. And at the same time, he is also watching the squirrel game. So, like squirrel, he also wants to move free freely in the society, freely in the mainstream society, sophisticated society, or a place where he can fulfill all his wishes, all his desire. So, of squirrel game in tree room, other than this. Other than this means he is not interested in study, in reading, in reciting. Rather, he is dreaming and he is looking out of the window. He is watching the game of the squirrel. He is lost about his own future, about his own life. In the next stanza, it is mentioned, on sour cream walls donations, Shakespeare said. And what is the color of the wall? Sour. Sour means yellowish, off white, faded. So it was a beautiful color earlier, but because of the time, because of no maintenance, it has become dull. It has become yellowish, dirty. And on the wall there are also the list of donation giver, those people who give donations, especially in government school, government college, their names are written. For example, suppose this is a government school, suppose, and the fan are donated by Sir Jamnalal Sharma. So on the fan it is written Supreme Bhaint donated by Sir Jamnalal Sharma. And the fan is running and Jamnalal is gone, but the fan is, he is gone, but the fan is dancing, the fan is running. So like that, there was a list made on the wall that fan is donated by him, furniture by somebody else, tube light by somebody else. So you understood. So there was the list of the donation giver. There was also Shakespeare's head. Shakespeare's head means Shakespeare's picture. Shakespeare's picture, a photo of Shakespeare. So there is allusion. In Shakespeare head, poetic devices, there is allusion. What is allusion? Giving reference to historical or popular person or place. Giving reference to a person or thing that is historically important. So Shakespeare's had cloudless at dawn. There is also a picture of a scenery. What kind of scenery it is? Without cloud and scene of dawn. Dawn is early morning. 4 o'clock, 5, sunrise, yes. Civilized dome, and there is also picture of what? Civilized dome. The big buildings are there and all beautiful houses are there. Civilized dome riding all cities. The cities are constructed, and in the constructed well planned cities there are the big buildings shown, beautiful places shown, all these nice, prosperous, developed, happy things are shown. There is also a Bellet flowery Tyroles Valley. There is also a picture of what? Tyroles Valley. So Tyroles Valley is pertaining to the Tyrol, an Austrian alpine province. Alpine province in Austria, which is popular, which is famous for Flowers Valley. Very beautiful place, very nice place. So even that picture is there. Picture of Austria. Austria is a country. So that picture also is there. And there is also open-handed map awarding the world its world. Open-handed map is a general map, the map of the world. There is also open-handed map, means a general map which is awarding the world as it is, how it is. So it is also said that when the rulers were there, kings were there, when they were fighting, so after their fight, they expanded their estates, expanded their kingdom. So in the world map, somewhere I'm talking for ancient time. Okay, so like when one king attacked another place, like suppose this is Russia and this is France, this is Germany. Suppose I'm saying, map is not correct. I know even though, but suppose this is Germany, this is UK, very small USA. So suppose a king of Russia, he attacked France, so he would occupy his place and he would include it in his territory. So here he says that, the poet says that there was also open-handed map. There was a general map which awarded the world its world, which shown the world, which showed the world as it was. It was divided some places because of this problem, and it was divided according to their will. And yet, for these children, these windows not the map their world. But the poet says that for these children, those who are sitting in the classroom, for them, this map which is put there, this is not their world. For them, the world is this window. The window from which they look outside, that is their world. Why? Because they have been restricted only to this area, only to this facility, only to the surrounding outside their school, outside their houses, the garbage, the heaps of the wrapper or the shit or the dirty places. So he says that for these children, those who are sitting in the classroom, for them, this window is their world, because they are peeping out of the window. Whatever they are peeping out of their window, they are relating with that, and not this general map, because they haven't seen it. They haven't gone outside to this kind of places which is shown in the map, where all their future is painted with a fog. And he said that in the slum area, slum school, in their houses, their complete future is painted with fog. Yes, with mist. There is no clarity, no aim. So he continues further and he says that a narrow street sealed in with lead sky. There is also a narrow street. The places where these children live, the places where these children live, these places are very narrow. Only a narrow street takes you there. And lead sky. The color of the sky is how? Lead. And lead symbolizes what? Dullness. Lead, the color of the lead is what? Dullness. Okay. Uh, uh, it symbolizes pathetic condition, pathetic situation, as I had written it here. Lead sky. It symbolizes pathetic condition of the place, because the color of lead is what? You know, lead is a metal. Yes, and you could see the color, dull color, ashen like color. So the color of the sky also is lead, means their life also is pathetic, dull. And there is a metaphor in this line with a lead sky. Far, far from rivers, cape, and stars of words. And these children, those who are living here in these places, they are far away from real mountain, real river, real lake, real even stars. Even stars they haven't seen. They have heard about these things, these places only in the book. Why they haven't seen stars? Because the tall buildings are covering them. Their houses are only just 10 feet, 8 feet, whatever. And there are 15, 16, 20, 30, 40 story building. So those buildings are like tower. They are covering them from all the sides. So therefore, they cannot see anything. They are just closed in that place. Surely Shakespeare is wicked. The map a bad example. And the poet says that Shakespeare is wicked. Wicked means evil. Wicked means bad. Wicked means evil. Shakespeare is wicked. Map, the world map which is there, it's a bad example. Why? Because the world map has got the beautiful, prosperous places in it, ships in it, all kind of facilities in it, developed cities in it, domes in it, properly structured city, places, houses in it. But he says what? Um, and it is tempting them to steal. So this map, the world map, is tempting these children to steal. To steal means to go outside, to to accept this kind of lifestyle as they are seeing in the picture. So he's saying that Shakespeare is a bad example because it's alluring them, and they won't be able to relate to Shakespeare because Shakespeare represent high class, sophisticated class, elite class, rich class, wealthy class, whereas these children, they are poverty stricken. So how they are going to relate to Shakespeare? So therefore the poet has says that Shakespeare is a bad example. Shakespeare is weak, and the map which is there, it is a bad example for these children because it is tempting them to steal, to come out, to follow this lifestyle. And to steal here also means to follow the bad ways, bad ideas, or wrong path, for lives that slyly turn in their cramped hole. For lives. For means because these children slyly, because these children's life slowly turning them, taking them into cramped holes, covering them, closing them into cramped hole. Cramped hole means short, small places. So close small places for their lives that slyly turn in their cramped holes, from fog to endless night. Fog to endless means no clarity, no light to no light. There is no light in their life from beginning, from morning till night. From fog to endless night, on their slag heap, these children wear skins. And where do they live? These children live on slag heaps. Slag heap means heaps of garbage. Shit is there, wrappers are there. So this place they live, their houses are there, where skins peep through by bones, and they are wearing the skin. They are wearing the skin means they are so poverty stricken, so malnutritious that their bones are rappling, bones are coming out. Yes, their skin are loosened, skin is loose, and you could see even the bones coming out. So therefore it is mentioned that they wear skins peeped through by bones, and the bone, you could see the bones peeping through their skin. And spectacles of steels, they are wearing the spectacles of steel, mended glass. Yes, so it symbolizes the shattering of dreams. So it's mentioned here they are wearing spectacles of steels with mended glass. Mended glass means the broken glass which has been mended. It's showing their pathetic condition, poverty stricken. Their dreams are shattered. No more dream, no more desire. Like bottle bits on stone. So exaggeration is there, hyperbole is there. The way you break a bottle on the stone and there are pieces of glass, and those pieces of glass are collected, stuck together, and with that mended glass they are wearing the spectacle. So that's hyperbole also is there, the poetic device, that's exaggeration. All of their time and space are foggy slum. Their complete time they are spending, space means their place, their complete time and place are only in foggy slum. The slum is foggy, it's a misty, it's unclear, it is not happy, it's not prosperous for them. They can't see their future, their whole future is restricted there. So he says, blot their maps with slum as big as doom. What does the poet says? Poets say that Blot their map as big as slum. So you have mentioned in the map only the beautiful building, Tyrolus Valley, the beautiful houses, but how they are going to relate it? There is no slum. If they see their slum, then only they would relate, oh, this is me, this is my life, this is my lifestyle. I need to do this, I need to do that. He's saying, or the poet is saying that they can't relate themselves. They would be able to relate themselves only when they see their own reflection, their own houses, their own slum area in the map. So blot their maps with slums as big as dome. Dome here stand for again that buildings around portion area. Yes. That's the same word, but here the poet has used the different spelling. It is same. He has used here. This is called poetic license. There is also a poetic device that is called poetic license. In poetic license, the poet has got the freedom or right to use certain kind of word or phrases according to his own style, sometime in order to make rhyming, sometime in order to make the flow, the rhythm in the poem. So whatever the reason might be there, but the poet uses these terms the poetic license for making usage of words according to him for whatever the reason he likes to do. So plot their maps with slums as big as Doom, unless governor, spectre, visitor, these maps become their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacomb. Further, in the last stanza, the poet says that unless the governor, inspector, authority, visitors, tourists, educated people, until and unless they come and this window of the map becomes their world, if this map become their window and this window which is their map it is broken, then only it would be any good to these children. Unless and until the governor, the inspector, the visitor, they come and help these children out, they make this world their, this world map their own world, and break the window which is working for them as world, then only they would be free, then only they would be developed. So the poet is appealing, he is making request to whom? To visitor, to teacher, to governor, to government, to educator, and to everybody. He says that you come and help these children, make this world map their real world, and help them breaking the window which is functioning, which is their actual world. Otherwise their whole life will remain shut there, that shut upon their whole life like catacombs. Catacomb meaning is already given there, a long underground gallery with excavation, a long underground place. It is like a tomb also, you can say tomb. Okay. So it was the name given to subterranean cemeteries near Rome. So it is a kind of grave, a kind of grave. Yes, excavation site. So he says that show break open till they break the town. So the poet appeals and he says that come and break this slum. Break this slum means take these children out of this slum area, make them settle into a beautiful place under a blue sky, near the mountain, near the golden sand. That is the prosperous world. Let them read all kind of information, all kind of books, all kind of knowledge, all kind of study, because history is theirs whose language is the sun. Because he says that those who study, those who are knowledgeable, those who have knowledge, those who have got education, those who educate well, they have the power to change the world. They have the power to change the society. So therefore here it is literally it is written, show the children to green fields. Green field here stand for the prosperous, happy, peaceful land, and make their world run azure on gold sand. Make their world means settle their life, settle their world in golden sand, prosperous land, and under the blue sky. Let their tongue read all kind of book. Let their tongue read all kind of book, all kind of information. Run necked into books. The white and green. White and green means all types, all kind. The white and green leaves open. History theirs whose language is the sun. Because said that those who are educated, those who have got knowledge, those who hard work, they have the power to transform the life, to transform the society, to transform their own life, and to set an example for others. So there are many poetic devices which are used here, like simile, metaphor, personification. Like some of them I can tell you. First one is like rootless weeds. So which one? Which poetic device like rootless weeds? Simile. Another like bottle bits on stone, like catacombs, slum as big as doom. Then example of metaphor. Squirrel's game, tree room, lead sky, spectacles of steel, language is the sun, repetition, far, far from gusty waves, break, oh break till they break the town, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words, irony, surely Shakespeare is weak and the map a bad example. Imagery are also there. Alliteration, far, far from, bottle bits. Okay, so question answer we shall discuss tomorrow in the next class. Goodbye.